beautiful beaders, it's Gina from Orchid and Opal.com, and today I'm back to share with you guys some finished pieces, things that I've created from some of these boxes that I've gotten in recently and other things from my stash. And like I usually do, I like to give you a look at these pieces, but also talk to you a little bit about how I came up with them, the materials I use, maybe my thought process. Because the hope is that that might spark something in you creatively. We all find inspiration in different ways. And sometimes it's fun to see what we've done with some of the similar materials that we may have received. There's almost endless possibilities out there. So first I want to bring you several pieces that I came up with based on the June bargain bead box. And if you're new here, first of all, I want to give you a warm welcome, but also let you know I have videos sharing all of these unboxings. I have playlists for each company and also links down below the video to point you to the various websites of the boxes I recommend. So with the bargain bead box, of course our theme kind of followed a purple and coppery kind of bohemian type feel. And they included this textured electroplated jasper pendant. I decided to leave it pretty much as is, and then I created a beaded bezel out of seed beads and delica beads by creating this folded diamond shape and alternating the colors. And then to kind of match up with the substantial nature of this pendant, I decided to go for a 3-strand seed bead, I'll call it a chain, where I gathered the 3 strands along the way, also using these electroplated lava beads that they sent in the month's box, and alternated the delicas and the seed beads going up to also follow through on that variegated pattern. I finished it up with a lobster clasp and an extender chain. And here you can see the full length of the necklace. I did use Fireline for these strands, just so they were a little bit looser and delicate than a beading wire, which would have been okay too, but I knew I'd be gathering them and also didn't want to add a lot of bulk. And then gathered them up in some wire guards and underneath some crimp tubes and beads. Next up is a necklace I created from the violet colored crackle agate beads that they sent. I just was in love with this color, and I knew I had a silk cord from the dollar bead box in my stash that would match perfectly with it. So of course I wanted to combine the two. What I did was I strung these on a beading wire. So I have the violet crackle beads as well as some bead caps and some of these spacer beads that they included in the June bargain bead box. And then I created a knot over top of the ends of the wire guards where I finished off this necklace, and then hid the knots underneath these very large copper spacer beads or large hole beads that I had in my stash that covered over some of the rough edges and really brought all of this together. So I love how elegant and effortless this looks with this silk cord and the combination of the copper and the lavender, which I probably wouldn't have put together on my own. And I feel like it really shows off the beauty of these crackle beads and how different they all are. So here's a full look at the necklace. You can see that you just draw this back around your neck and tie it in a bow. And that way the length is adjustable depending on how long you want it. And it makes it super easy to put on and take off. Here's the next necklace I created inspired by the contents of the June bargain bead box, and this is more of a lariat style. So they had included this antique copper component, kind of a chandelier component, so you could use this as a pendant if you wanted to, for example. Had these 3 holes off to one side and then this additional opening, and I thought this would be a great opportunity for a lariat. So it's a little bit more difficult to show you on this display, but as you can see, this comes out. And it's basically one strand that comes together and fits tucked in nicely into the opening on this pendant, allowing a beaded portion to hang down. And I wanted to add these leaves at the bottom as well, which they included. You can see this is a very bead heavy piece. So I included more of the lava beads, the little crystal rounds, the spacers, the smooth oval beads. So lots of different beads that were included in this month's box were added to this lariat style necklace, and then it just wraps right around the neck and tuck that in to secure, and you have a beautiful beaded leafy portion hanging down. And then use those 3 holes to my advantage to include some of the chain that they sent, drawing those up into the single strand of beads. And originally I had wanted to combine this component with this 3-strand seed bead rope, but I ended up not liking the way that the rope was coming together with the beaded portion. I felt like they competed too much, and that's how I ended up with the single strand of chunkier beads and the chain here. And I really like this combination of things and how this all came out. So like I was saying, this is the next piece. And what this is, it's another lariat style necklace, basically one 26-inch long beaded rope. And this is a seed bead rope that I found a video tutorial on by Jill Wiseman. And I love that beautiful twist of colors. It's a delicate rope. It's not extremely thick. It is a bit time consuming, so I sat down and did a little bit of it at a time. And then I created these components to hang down off the bottom of the two ends. I actually beaded a link of the chain right into the end, and this doesn't have any openings, so I felt that was a lot more secure. And then wire wrapped these components right onto that. So there's nothing that's going to be just popping off on its own. And the two strands just tuck right in there in the center of this flower component. But basically I used the glass beads that they sent and I beaded them into a ring. You can see I also used some of the rondelles there in the center and even some spacers here in the back. I just got started and kept going and going until it just evolved and turned into this flower ring component. So just tuck that portion under the beaded loop. And then the two ends just sit there right around that top petal, and you have the two strands hanging down. So a little bit difficult to show you here on the video, but looks really neat when it's worn. So next I wanted to bring you the pieces I haven't shared in a finished jewelry update yet, but I have done tutorials on. So this is the marquee shaped ear wire with the wrapped gemstone chips that I brought you a couple weeks ago, where you can see several different ideas here with components mainly from bbcraft.com. And it's another idea for gemstone chips, which tend to be a challenge for a lot of people, and also bring you this different and unique style ear wire and show you how you can actually wire wrap onto the component and come up with some really elegant designs. And then it has the loop at the bottom, of course, where you can add some type of focal component and get really creative, but it's still a very simple and easy project that you can have a lot of fun with. So here's an example of one that I did using the coral chip beads. And they're just wire wrapped around the top of that component. And then I took the open heart pendant that I received in a mix from BB Craft and used that to my advantage to wrap on some of these coral chip beads in this totally different texture, this coming from a strand from beadboxbargains.com. So it was a nice way for me to combine those two different shapes of coral beads and bring them together in one design. Here's a closer look at the other variety. So I have this one here featuring the lapis lazuli and the larger gemstone components that came in a different variety pack from BB Craft. This one here incorporates one of these smaller dyed seashells that came in a container I recently shared. This one features some of these mini suede tassels that I had in my stash from Jesse James Beads. And then this one features this decorative beach-themed lampwork bead at the end with some of the Amazonite chips. So I will link that video in the corner if you're interested in checking out that project and haven't already. And then next I have these 3 bracelets. These are the Briar Rose bracelet design that I came up with that were totally inspired by the contents of the June Adornable Elements Hot and Trendy Beads of the Month Club. They challenged me to come up with a new design using something from the box, and I was able to come up with something using actually 4 different style beads from the contents, which was a happy surprise to me. And that's how the Briar Rose bracelet was born. You can see it contains the 3-hole octos, the 3-hole Cali beads. They had included these little 1 beads and also the geckos that look like little leaves. And I pulled out some other things that I had already in my stash to come up with these 3 additional colorways. You can see they also incorporate some 15-0 seed beads and some 3mm fire polish. So definitely check out that tutorial if you are interested in that one. But since I hadn't shared these on a finished jewelry update, I definitely wanted to bring these in and give you an up close look at the 3 additional colorways to give you some ideas for that. In addition, the Nexus bracelet in these tones of turquoise and black and gold. I know you had seen the other colorway before. You can check out this tutorial if you're interested in a project featuring the Miyuki Tila beads and 3 and 6 millimeter bugles. Bugles being another thing that some of us struggle with to incorporate, and I love how that turned out, which then inspired me to create the smaller version, which I called the half nexus bracelet, which uses the, you guessed it, half Tila beads and simply the 3 millimeter bugle beads. So it's another option there. And in this video, I showed you an alternate way of completing the bracelet where you can get the exact same results if you follow the same type of direction from the original Nexus bracelet, or you could complete it in a different way, more one component at a time, and see what you like better. But this is a more delicate version of the Nexus bracelet that came together so nicely. The Tila beads are just so smooth and feel so slinky when incorporated into a bracelet like this. So that is it for the pieces from tutorials I've already put out, but I do have some new pieces that I am planning tutorials for that I haven't yet shared. And I've brought the card back to set the tone. So this is a piece inspired by the May Eureka Crystal Beads monthly collection. It was called Poppy Fields. And as a personal challenge, but also to help you guys come up with uses for these collections, I try to come up with a new piece based on each one of them. And this is another piece I came up with based on all the beads that came in the Poppy Fields collection. This is what I'm calling the Poppy Fields bracelet. And as you can see, it incorporates some of those rose monties that are flashing there in the center of our poppies. It includes the black spinel, some 6 millimeter fire polish beads, and then various sizes of our seed beads. So they're all brought together in this fun way, and I'd love to see it done in some other colorways as well. But this is a bracelet design I'll be bringing you very soon. I've already filmed the tutorial, and if you've purchased the Poppy Fields collection, you have everything you need right in that box to create this. So I actually made 2 of these. One was just on my own and another was for the tutorial. And if you recall, last month I shared a prismatic right angle weave necklace with the large Swarovski stone that came from this collection. I'm still planning to do a tutorial on that, but I'm trying to build up to prismatic right angle weave by first sharing some basic videos on right angle weave and then cubic right angle weave, and then getting into what the prismatic is to help those of you who are newer and may not be as familiar with that technique. So that'll be coming. And then here is last month's Eureka Crystal Beads collection theme. This was the Beach Dunes collection. And if you'll forgive me, I haven't yet put this on a necklace chain, but I created this very ornate component using exclusively materials from that box. And it started actually by creating these earrings, which yes, I will be sharing in a tutorial as well. I do want to get that dark colored fire line out of there, out of those crystals, but that's a picky little thing. And again, this was something I just started putting together and I wasn't sure how it was going to come out. And I also didn't have any crystal fire line at the time. But after several different attempts, I settled on this design, which I absolutely love. It uses the Storm Duos, the 4 millimeter fire polish, the 6 millimeter Swarovski bicones, the other little bicone mix they sent, and also the 12 millimeter square Swarovski cushion cut stones. So that's where the necklace component started. And then because I had so many other beads and because their collections always coordinate so well, I decided to build upon that design and create these other components. When I did that, I decided to go really crazy and to create a larger component that evolved into this. So definitely a tutorial coming for the earrings, and we shall see about the necklace. While I have these still here, I also wanted to mention that I do have this design coming next week in a purple colorway in that tutorial. I've already shared this design on my previous finished jewelry update, but I hadn't shown this colorway yet. And this is a rose gold and kind of pearlescent fire polish combination with a crystal clear AB Rose Monty. That one will be coming. It's a really simple and elegant way to combine seed beads and fire polish and the Rose Monties, especially if you haven't used them yet in bead weaving. And then finally, I want to wrap up by sharing with you 2 of the 8 pieces, yes, 8 pieces that I made from the Eureka Crystal Beads Serene Lavender collection, which is from this month. Now, I usually don't work up pieces that fast, but this color, I guess, really inspired me, and sometimes you just get on a roll. And I'm thinking I'll probably bring you a separate video once this collection comes back in stock, where I'll share with you all the pieces I made from this one collection. Since I already shared one piece on Instagram and Facebook, and you're also seeing this one here on my pinky finger, I figured I'd go ahead and share with you these two though. This is a ring I created which incorporated exclusively items from the Serene Lavender collection, including that crystal chaton there in the center, 2 different colors of seed beads. We have some bicones and also those little teacup beads. I'll be sharing this one with you hopefully next month. And then the earrings that I had shared last week, and the very first thing I created from this collection, which I'm calling the Sweet Dreams earrings, because lavender is one of those scents that's supposed to be calming and help you to sleep. And they kind of had that little feathery look around the edges like I think of when I think of the lavender flowers. But these also were a design that incorporates exclusively items from the Serene Lavender collection. On the back, you can see that I actually used the Zoli duos to hold the Swarovski stone in place, as well as some seed beads and the crescent beads, which wrap around that stone and create this really cool bezel, and added some of these very vibrant bicones in between. All right, guys, so that's a look at everything that I've been up to pretty much for the past month or so since my last finished jewelry update. I hope it was helpful for you, maybe sparked some ideas and inspiration in your own mind, and gave you a little bit of a glimpse into my thought process when I'm coming up with some different concepts. As you could already see, I have lots more to come, so I hope you'll stick around with me. Feel free to leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you have a favorite item here or anything else you'd like to say. In the meantime, you can check out the tutorials for some of these items I've already shared, and stick around for many more to come. You guys are totally the reason all of this happens. I wouldn't be here coming up with so many different ideas and sharing these pieces and everything else I do on a regular basis if it weren't for you guys. So I really appreciate you being here with me, keeping the excitement and creativity alive. Until next time, I hope you guys have a fabulous rest of your day, and as always, happy beading. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. For more content like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of my latest videos. You can check out the information section below this video for links to all my social media handles, recommended products, and my shop and blog at orchidandopal.com. Thanks for watching.